as we are both a bit well known by people. You, I do get a lot of young people, kids, who are
Yeah.
like, "Hey, I'm gonna make my animation pilot on my own." Or I'm gonna make my comic, and then they spend
Oh,
6 months
oh
making
yeah.
their first page, their cover page, and then they never do the comic. Oh, sorry to call you out, folks, but that's what people come to me every week with.
Oh man,
So
no, no, for real, you called me out on several projects in the
I
past.
called
Just now.
myself out as a
Yeah.
younger person. I know what this is. I'm gonna make a comic, like post a cover on DeviantArt and never does any page. Like does 2 pages and quits. So what I want to say with this is like if that's your case, it's okay. You'll grow out of it.
Yeah.
And I think us talking about that, I just hope it kind of brings light into why some people might like not give up but like stop working on their stuff. It's just because making animation or making a comic is a lot more work than people might think. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying understand that it is a lot more work.
I think it's also a matter of like, learning scope management with like your ambitions.
Hmm.
Cause, there's tons of projects that I have that I would absolutely love to make, but
I think I do remember some of those
yeah,
that
oh
you told
yeah,
me about.
like back in the day I had several projects and I'm guilty of doing this too, where I have very ambitious ideas and projects and like tons of passion ideas off the top of my head, but because of how big the scope is and how much I set an expectation of how high I want this to meet my standards, I ended up never fulfilling them the way I wanted to because, I ended up setting my sights too high or making the scope bigger than I could handle or manage. And 9 times out of 10, it just kind of fell by the wayside, just like that. Which is why, like the recent projects I have worked on that I'm much more hands on now and sticking to have come from a couple of things. One is just obviously general discipline, like staying on top of yourself more often. I think that's just a general thing to have with your work at all times. But the other thing is scope management, like working within your means and within not necessarily your limitations, because you can always like exceed your limitations if you know how to work to and build up your stuff patiently and consistently over a long period of time. But like, you know, learning how to work within your means and your current limitations to kind of make what you can. Um, and for
Yeah.
me, a lot of my ideas I had in the past were like long form, and
Oh
they were
yeah.
gonna and I thought, oh man, I want to make like the one piece of comics or some shit, right? Like I have so many ideas that like I'd love to make, but I know in my head they would take like 50 years to make and draw and like all these
Let's
sorts
not
of
forget they would have probably been your first comic, like your first like big comic, right?
yeah, and that's always the thing you learn, or you should learn immediately from your first comic is
Your
it's not
first
going to be
project
your
will suck.
yeah, it's not gonna be your big hit. It's not gonna be the thing that like it's a very rare lucky occurrence that your first passion project knocks it out of the park. Like a
Hmm.
lot of times your project will come in a way like case in point with me and Tinder Skitty
That's
actually.
why I was asking.
Yeah, because the thing about that is Tinder Skitty I hope people understand what I say when I come from this. I'm not trying to, dissuade like my investment in Tinder Skitty.
Or
I love
yeah.
Tinder Skitty a lot. I love drawing these comics. It wasn't my passion project originally.
Yeah.
Um, it kind of just happened to become this thing that a lot of people loved and that
Resonated
I
with.
loved seeing people enjoy as much as they did, which gave me the fuel and excitement to make more. Um, like one thing I love is seeing people smile with my work. Like I love people enjoying my stuff and really really appreciating what goes into them and like um when I saw that as many people as there were enjoying this thing, I couldn't resist making more. Like it was fun. It was great. And I've been having fun with every comic since then. Like it's so gratifying to make something like that
People enjoy.
and that people enjoy that much. But it wasn't initially what I thought I was gonna like, you know, gain any kind of like success over. Like
Yeah,
I was,
oh
and it you
sorry.
and and what I learned and what I understood from that is that it usually never is. The thing you
Yeah.
think you're like that's why one philosophy I love when it comes to, you know, actually I should probably bring up something that people have brought up to me before, and I have a very tricky answer to this question, which is that a lot of people ask me like, what are your big goals in life with your with your art and your projects? Like,
Is
what
it
do you
making
strive
people
to
happy?
achieve? And here's the weird thing. I don't really have one specifically. Um like cuz I've already done in a certain way shape or form things that I wanted to do in some capacity at some point in my life. Like I got to work with studios. That was one thing I wanted to be able to achieve. Work with animators at a studio on projects. I got to do that.
Uh-huh.
Make a personal project that became that got successful in some capacity, and Tinder's Kitty did that.
Well, like they say
Uh,
in Tingle, now you just have to find a new goal each time.
yeah, and now I'm just in search of another one right now, and that's. But here's the other thing: not having one particular goal kind of opens me up to the possibility of being part of a lot of things outside of my own personal interest.